When we first moved in, the front of our house was really ugly, so we decided to jazz it up a little bit by adding a flower bed. I wanted it to last, so I made it out of concrete. For the first couple decades we were in the house, we faced the concrete planter with logs to give it the rustic look. We're now ready for a change and decided to go with a more formal look. So that's the purpose of this video, to show you how we did this. Step number 1 is to install furring strips. These strips will provide a transition to allow us to nail boards onto the concrete. Special concrete screws will be used to attach the furring strip to the concrete. The company is called Tapcon, and the product can be bought in most hardware stores. The first strip will be installed at the very top of the planter. This way, in addition to attaching my sideboards, I can use the same strip to attach the top board. First, I drill a hole in the wood. Then I take my roto hammer, which is a pretty awesome tool. It lets you drill holes in concrete. Excuse the photobomb. Anyway, the roto hammer uses a special bit called an SD bit and pounds on the bit at the same time it rotates and basically chips a hole into the concrete. A fresh bit is almost as easy as drilling a hole in wood. The hole that I'm drilling is slightly smaller than the concrete screw. That way, the only part of the screw that's making contact with the concrete is the threads. This here is an impact screwdriver. It also pounds on the screw as it's being installed. I use 3 attach points for each furring strip, 1 in the middle and 1 on each end. Now it's time to cut the boards that will go on the front of the planter. Since every single board will be exactly the same height, this will be an easy chop. If you line up the board that you're cutting with the back end of the board that you just cut, every one of your boards will be the same height. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about. The cost of this project is pretty insignificant. Basically, I had to buy my concrete screws and some brad nails. The cedar boards came from a 30-year-old fence that we tore down. Run a pressure washer across them with a 40-degree tip, and it rejuvenates the wood to almost like new. To increase the formal look, we decided to alternate our boards with different sizes. So every other board got ripped in half. This job is easily accomplished with a table saw. After they've been ripped, we can cut those to the correct height. Alright, we're ready to install boards. And yes, you're not imagining it, it is raining, but when you live in Seattle you learn to work with it. Alternate the boards between wide and narrow, and nail them into place. Obviously, you want your brad nails to be long enough to go through your board and partway into your furring strip, but not hit the concrete behind. Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room. This end of the planter is wider than any of my boards. So, how do you make a board wider? The answer, my friend, is called biscuits. Oh, and glue. First, I mark the center point of each biscuit, then take a special tool called a biscuit jointer. This will actually cut a notch into the end of the board. You can see a red mark on the front of the tool that I lined up with those lines that I drew. This way, the holes that I'm cutting into each board will be in exactly the same spot. The biscuit is a football-sized piece of wood that's been compressed. It fits into the slot you cut, and when it absorbs the glue, it expands, helping to hold the board in place. Now all you have to do is apply the glue to the biscuits and the edge of the board and clamp it into place. After all the wood is installed, I went back with a belt sander and made everything flush. Then we stained the wood with 2 different colors. 1 color for the wide boards, 1 color for the narrow boards. Oh, I love that our fuzzy little buddy's involved in all our projects. I would have to say that I'm pretty darn happy with how this turned out. It looks pretty formal. Well, thanks for watching.